All you can eat buffet workers, what are your horror stories? College friend worked at a Chinese buffet. He said they caught a regular dipping his pizza in the wonton soup bowl, like, in the queue, and not at his table, and eating it. Bite. Dip. Bite. Dip. Bite. Dip. After the fourth time in a month he did it, management finally kicked him out. Like he brought pizza into the buffet, or this was a Chinese place that also does pizza? Every Chinese buffet has one terrible pepperoni pizza for the picky eater kids. With exactly one piece of pepperoni on each slice, in accordance with international Chinese buffet law. There was one buffet serving pizza with 2 to 3 pepperonis on each slice. It wasn't long before they got raided by the feds. Flew too close to the sun. God damn it. God damn it. Picked up some fish and chips recently. Saw they had all you can eat on Wednesdays. So I asked what is the most that someone, 18 pieces of fish and 3 plates. She held up this huge platter of fries every single Wednesday. So he eats that exact order every week? Yes. And he goes to a different all you can eat every day of the week. He got banned from the Chinese place down the road. That's kind of sad. Obviously an eating addiction. Not an employee, but once I saw someone using their shirt as a bag and filled it with BBQ chicken wings. You promised me you won't tell anyone. I had a co-worker that briefly managed a Ryan's buffet. He said that it was fairly common for people to gorge themselves, then purge in the restroom, and start eating again, so that they could get their money's worth. Leave it to Ryan's buffet, where the quantity is the goal and 8-year-old kids are 6'0" with mustaches. When you talk about something gross at a buffet, Ryan's is always there to say hold my beer. They legit just have ham sitting in boiled water. Hot ham water. So watery, and yet there's a smack of ham to it. At one point I worked for a pizza place that used to have a day buffet that I would make pizzas for. One time 2 huge dudes come in the moment we open for the buffet. The manager on duty dropped the first 2 pizzas down on the buffet, turned to grab the next 2, turned back and both pizzas were gone. A few minutes later both dudes walk back up and each take an entire pizza again and walk back to continue eating. They proceeded to do this over and over, grabbing an entire pizza each for themselves for the entire 3 hours we were offering the buffet. Was one hell of a day. Dominance. #STABLISHED. There was a fairly expensive restaurant in Dallas in the 80s called Southern Kitchen. About $25 per person back then with food served to the table. Really good stuff. They were famous for cinnamon rolls. The owner said he'd seen many women ruin expensive purses hiding those rolls. Man, I miss that place. That's about $60 in today's dollars. For anybody who cares. Semicolon. Yeah, it's not like Golden Corral or a regular buffet. It was much nicer. Not a horror story, just funny. I worked at Wendy's when they had salad bars. You could get a single serving bowl. They used to serve eaten chili in styrofoam bowls. And the large doubled as a chili bowl, or all you can eat platters. The taco salad bottom plate. On a slow afternoon, this guy came in and got a single serving bowl. After a few minutes, our manager motioned to me and the sandwich guy to discreetly take a look at the salad he was making. The guy had filled the bowl with salad, then made a ring of overlapping cucumber slices to extend the lip of the bowl upwards. He filled that with salad, then added another ring. It took several minutes to build this thing, but by the time he'd finished, he had a tower of salad well over a foot tall. WTH, multiple rings of cucumber slices containing it. That salad was an engineering marvel. He carefully carried it back to his table, sat down, then looked up guiltily as our manager walked out to him. The manager handed him a free item coupon and said, "That is the most impressive salad I have ever seen. Your next one is on me." I worked at a Ruby Tuesday in Center City, Philly, first floor of the Liberty Place building. I had a couple that would come in about twice a week that requested me. They would gorge themselves at the salad bar for about an hour, ask for large glasses of water with no ice. Then both would take the water into the bathroom. They would come out a few minutes later with empty glasses, ask for the check and leave. I finally put it together that they were bulimic after I walked in the women's bathroom and it smelled like vomit. Very polite folks and tip well though. That's so sad. Hopefully they recovered from their bulimia. That is sad. They supported each other's bulimia. Obligatory, not a buffet worker, just a witness. We were waiting in line for the soft serve machine at Golden Corral. The woman in front of us gets up to the machine and awkwardly jerks the handle around in an attempt to get at the sweet ice cream within. She's pushing, pulling, twisting, doing literally everything but turning it to the right, which would have dispensed the ice cream. She's really perplexed by this, so she takes the next logical step, of course, which is to wrap her lips around the spout, form a seal on it with her mouth, and start trying to suck it right out of the tap. One of the workers sees this and looks on in disgust before he unplugs the machine. On the way out, we see that he put an out of order sign on it, so thankfully they didn't keep serving it after that whole incident. Well, if you can't jerk it, then suck it. I bet she's real popular with the fellas. Except the guys who like it turned to the right. Not an employee, but our local Golden Corral shut down because the cooks were too busy fucking the underage servers and selling heroin. Not an answer I was expecting. I'll allow it. I was once at an old country buffet, waiting patiently to get some mac and cheese. The kid in front of me plied his plate high, and then started tapping the serving spoon, to get all of the chessy goodness free from the confines of the spoon. Once he was satisfied with his handiwork, he licked the spoon clean. I didn't have any mac and cheese, and haven't been back since. What an asshole child. Me personally, I fucking love me some mac and cheese. Hands would have been thrown, if it were me. Wouldn't actually punch a kid, but man I'd be pistol mayo. Went as a customer to a Golden Corral. I'm walking to the chocolate fountain and 3 little girls step in front of me, and all 3 of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain and all they did was laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. At least they turned it off, and I'm assuming, didn't let anyone eat it anymore. For real. That cold bean was way worse if the employees had just laughed along with the parents. Not a buffet, but I worked at a pizza parlor that offered a lunch buffet of endless pizza. The lunch ran from 11 AM to 3 PM. This gentleman comes in, I think he was homeless. He serves up a sky-high plate of pizza and just goes to town. He stayed from the beginning to the very end to make sure he got his money's worth. Well, his body didn't appreciate being stuffed like a pinata of pizza. He got up, waddled fast to the bathroom, and next thing I know I'm being told he had liquid shit trailing behind him to the bathroom and inside the bathroom. I was informed by my boss about the incident. I told him I was just heading out for a break. I was not about to clean that up. Fun fact. In the US, if you are not certified in cleaning up biohazards, your boss cannot make you clean up something like that. Nor can they, legally, fire you for refusing. Yeah, instead they'll fire you for being 5 minutes late that one time. Buffet where I live got shut down for serving coyote meat and labeling it as other meats. A place near me got busted last year for trapping seagulls on the roof and passing it off as chicken. No shit, a place my family used to frequent just got busted earlier this year for have caged pigeons in the basement. I worked as a server at a Chinese buffet and 4 things came to mind instantly. 1. A middle-aged woman puked on her table and blamed it on giving herself the wrong insulin dose. The 4 mountains of food she destroyed probably contributed to. Profusely apologized and tipped me $1. 2. I tried to pick up a dirty plate off a table that had a big pool of hibachi sauce/grease on it. The customer stopped me and said that's the best part, then proceeded to drink the sauce like it was the milk after a bowl of cereal. 3. A young mother complained to me because the crab meat and cheese that we serve on the buffet made her child sick, and they threw up. Her child was an infant, not even a year old. I'm no child care expert, but baked artificial crab meat and mozzarella can't be good for a baby. 4. The restaurant was raided by ICE one morning shortly before opening. The entire back of the house and one of our managers were deported. Back of the house was 1/2 Chinese and 1/2 Latin American. So, did y'all close for the day when I swept through? 4 days. What state are you in? At the time I was in Murfreesboro, TN. Not an employee, but I was standing behind a woman at hometown buffet. She was getting some lasagna or something. Basically a really cheesy pasta that when you lift the serving utensil, a lot of cheese hangs on. I witnessed her lift her pasta, twirl all the excess cheese that was connected around her index finger, and there was a lot, clip it off with her thumbnail, and then fling it back into the pasta. I knew I shouldn't have been at hometown buffet in the first place, but this solidified my stance to never go back. When I read, and then fling it back into the pasta, right, GASPED. Right. I thought, okay, not a big deal. She's probably gonna stuff her face with greasy buffet cheese. Oh god, why? Really though? Why fling it back in? Why? Pickle boy. There was this man who used to come into our restaurant who clearly wasn't all there in the head. He was functional but very weird. As the months progressed, he got way weirder. He started wearing women's underwear over his clothes, even going so far as to stuff his bra. Picture a 6 feet 2 inches 250 pound dude with a baby face wearing silky underpants and a lace bra over ratty jeans and a stained Hawaiian shirt. That's our guy. He went from being able to hold a sort of normal conversation to just spouting conspiracy theory word salad. But the weirdest thing was his change of eating habits. He used to eat a variety of our soup/salad/baked potato options from our buffet, but as his mental health deteriorated, so did his desire for variety, I guess. By the time his weirdness devolved to aggression, and we had to 86 him, he was coming in for 2 things: pickles and ranch dressing. He'd pile as many pickle slices as he could onto his plate, then put so much ranch on them the dressing and pickle juice would be running all over the tray. He'd eat it all, and his face would be covered in ranch and pickle bits. Then he'd drink water straight from the pitcher he inevitably stole from the wait station, slimming it with pickle ranch slobber. Never a dull moment with that dude around. Pickle boy, wherever you are today, I really hope you got the help you so desperately needed, but I was not sorry to see you go. Eater. For those who are asking about the term 86, on this case it means we kicked him out permanently. Sounds like an unfortunate case, where someone went off their meds, and you got to witness a deterioration. I have a friend like this, more sane though, combination of autism, bipolar and schizoaffective disorder. I managed a buffet in a casino in Reno for a few months. Had this family come in. Mom, dad, 2 little kids. I get called over to the table because the mom had thrown up on her plate/table and wanted us to take it away and clean it up. Semicolon. I asked if she was okay, and she said she always throws up when she eats cheese. She had gotten herself an enchilada. It was Mexican theme night. WTF lady, enchiladas pretty much always have cheese. I told her I would have to call janitorial because none of my staff was trained to handle biohazards. She didn't understand why I couldn't just take it. Janitorial came in and couldn't clean up because she refused to move from the table. So janitorial left. Semicolon. She calls me back over and starts yelling at me. Dad starts yelling too. Apparently she wanted to keep eating after throwing up, which I thought was really gross. I had them sit at another table so they could all keep eating. Janitorial came back and cleaned the other table. Semicolon. Finally they go to leave and decide to make a huge scene in front of the whole restaurant and demand their money back. I refuse. Dad gets in my face and starts shouting that I'm just a racist white bitch and his wife makes loads more money than I do. I call security and they storm out, pulling pictures off the wall and shattering them on the floor. And Dad also picked up a vase and broke it. The 2 kids are running around and banging on the walls. Security finally shows up after they ran off. I have to do a report and they were put on the 86 list. I fucking hate people. May I ask what's an 86 list? Not allowed to come back to the casino/resort. I got a name from their credit card receipt, and surveillance got pictures of their faces. If they came back, security would detain them. Might be charged for damages from the previous encounter. Security could also call the police. I never saw them again, though. Good riddance. Not mine, but I had a buddy who was 400 plus lbs, and the dude could put away some food. He went to a casino buffet that was one of the higher end ones that had crab legs and steak. On about his 4th or 5th plate stacked full of crab legs, the manager came out and gave him $250 in free slot play to leave the buffet. Wold been sick if he held out for more. Daffy you talking about, boss? I'm just getting started. I'm going surf and turf this motherfucker into the ground unless I see 4 of those vouchers. At one point myself and 2 other family members worked at a Golden Corral, each in different sections, because small towns don't have a lot of job options for high school/college kids. I worked in the bakery, which was surprisingly low in horror stories other than the chaos that remained after a large group of children came through. My brother worked the steak station. He got these regulars that would tip him pretty well if he would prepare blue steaks for them. The very idea of ordering blue steaks from a buffet makes me gag. My cousin worked the salad bar. Management would require her to keep seafood items on the bar for long after the point where they'd be safe to consume. I think the record was chilled shrimp from Mother's Day that stayed for over a week and a half. They finally caved and let her toss them when a customer complained about the smell. You got everyone talking about blue steak. Meanwhile week and a half old shrimp on the bar. Yeah, that's horrifying. I'd report them for that. People could have been very seriously sick. Worked in a buffet restaurant for a few weeks a while back. It was fairly common to see people do disgusting things like sneeze in the food or just poke their fingers in things, like sauces to taste them. Even saw one guy literally drop a slice of pizza on the floor, and after awkwardly looking around, he put it right back. Brought it up a couple of times, but the restaurant wasn't doing well, and we were told that we couldn't accept the losses, to start throwing good food out. Nah, dude ate it. If they can't afford the loss of a piece of pizza, as if the guy ate it, then they need to rethink their business model. Not a worker, but I went to hometown buffet and the kid in front of me was slightly shorter than the buffet bar, but had his hands in the yellow jello, just massaging it. Then his mom came by and snatched him away, but didn't say anything, while a guy came and made himself a bowl of jello. 10-year-old me was too appalled to say anything. I haven't eaten jello since then. The jello looked tense. He was just helping a brother out. My first job was as a dishwasher in an all-you-can-eat fried catfish buffet. People are animals, especially the ones that get far more food off the buffet than they can eat. Then they take the leftovers and pile them on a plate or tray, cover in ketchup and tartar sauce, then pour their iced tea over the top of all that. A lot of people did that, got at least 2 plates like that a night. Nothing made me hate people like busing/dishwashing on buffet night at the pizza place I worked at in college. What the fuck? Serving after church crowd is pretty high up there though. Jesus Christ would never have changed a dirty diaper on the table and left it there. Okay bitch. Not a worker, but I once saw a grown man have a childlike meltdown over the fact that he showed up to soup plantation too late and missed out on the biscuits and gravy. To be fair, that really is a traumatic experience. Not a worker, but I was at a Chinese buffet with a hot pot option that you had to pay extra for. There was a separate section with the stuff for that which was raw. This guy loaded up his plate with all this raw stuff and was eating it, including dangerous raw stuff like shrimp. I think he may have been slightly intellectually disabled. The Chinese staff had to come over and inform him that he was eating the wrong things and try to explain it to him. He got really embarrassed and said that he did not understand how it worked. Between the Chinese staff with their limited English and this poor guy who was not capable of really understanding what he had done wrong. It was one of those awkward moments in life that you cannot forget, no matter how much you try. I had a roommate that was diagnosed Asperger's and had lived with his mother till he was like 34. Dude wasn't really functional. He said his car was shaking when he got up to 50 miles per hour plus on the highway. I later noticed him pouring oil into his car. I asked him if he had ever changed the oil or if he just added it. I encouraged him to go to an oil change place and have them swap the oil. Lo and behold, his car stopped shaking when it got to 50 plus. Poor dude. I had to kick him out of the house after he was about $1,500 behind on rent to me. I think he's on government assistance now, thank God. I overheard some people talking once about a guy who had waited so long to change the oil it took 2 hours to drain out. My parents owned an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I was there every day of my life from 4 to 14. My favorite horror story is when a couple came in to eat. Obviously, they love-eared the crab legs, and every time my mom puts them out, they took it all. Also, just a reminder, crab legs are expensive. Forget the other customers. They just took it and ate it all. So they're there for maybe 2 hours now, and it's getting dark. They've eaten through at least a week's stock of crab legs and my mom finally decides it's enough. She stops putting it out in the buffet and brings individual plates to the customers who wanted it, but couldn't get any due to this couple. Understandably, the couple is angry. They literally flip the chairs at their table, flip their plates, bowls, cups, etc. and completely trashed their area. Food was all over the floor, table, chairs. Sticky soda was dripping into the carpet. They left in a hurry, but someone caught their license plate. We called the cops and I think they said they charged them with something. I can't remember the aftermath details clearly, because I was probably 8 or 9 years old, 20 now. I just remember looking at the mess and feeling really angry that my sister and I had to clean it up with our mom. It was a family-run business, so we didn't have much help. Anyways, that's my horror story, the end. People are shitty. Sorry that happened to you. Not an employee, but a customer. A long time ago, my mom and I picked up a friend of hers, and we went to a local Chinese food buffet. This place had a thing where you could get a pound of food for $5 in a tequila container instead of sitting and eating at the restaurant if you want. So that was our plan. The three of us were browsing around the buffet line with our tequila containers, adding what we wanted to them. And then I noticed my mom's friend doing something fucking disgusting. He was eating a chicken wing, like, right in front of the buffet line, hiding his face behind his tequila container, and then he took the chicken bone and put it back in the buffet tray. I walked over to my mom and told her what he was doing, and at first she thought I was joking. So she walked over towards him, and now he was standing there eating a slice of watermelon right off the buffet, and then putting the rind back in the tray. So my mom is like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, don't worry, I do this all the time. They never notice. So of course both me and mom are panicking, worried that they're gonna call the cops or something because of this disfit. We basically pretended to not know him and continued to fill up our containers the right way. After a couple minutes, one of the employees walks up to my mom and tells her that they noticed what the guy was doing, and they noticed that we were also uncomfortable about it and didn't intend to blame us. But they warned her that if she doesn't get him to pay for the food in his container and leave immediately, they'll be calling the police. So of course mom tells him that we need to go now, and he just brushes it off like I don't care. They're not gonna do anything. Well, me and mom walked up to the front, paid for our containers, apologized, and walked out and left him in there. A minute later, you can see and hear him shouting with the staff. He throws his container on the ground and food splatters everywhere. He storms out, shouting insults as he leaves, and of course gives them a "I'm never coming back," to which they reply, "You're not allowed in here no more. We'll call the cops." So we are standing out by the car, waiting for him. Of course, we yell at him for being a piece of shit. We get in the car and the next thing you know, this motherfucker starts pulling chicken wings and Chinese donuts out of his fucking pockets and eating them. We dropped him off at home and never spoke to him again. What kind of shit are people exposed to growing up that makes them think this is acceptable behavior? The same exact behavior from their parents. A woman came in with 2 of her kids and had a pretty regular meal. You pay when you leave at our place, and she decided to sneak out with her younger daughter before paying, leaving her underage son alone at the table. We caught on pretty quick and sent someone after her, who found her in her car in the parking garage, waiting for her son to come as well. She refused to come back in and pay, so we had to keep her son hostage until the police came to handle the situation. What some people will do to their kids, I swear. I actually love places where you pay up front, ordering your food at the counter, and then finding a place to sit. Makes life simpler, and you have the added bonus of leaving whenever you want. A bit of an off-topic rant, and I have no idea why I wrote it. I didn't work at an all-you-can-eat, but my sister did. The buffet itself was on the first floor, so you had to take either the stairs or the elevator to your seat. Once there was a lady who was carrying a tray with a whole lot of stuff on it down. Glasses, plates and a whole lot more of junk. My sister asked the lady if she needed any assistance, to which the lady replied, "You assume because I'm fat, I need help?" My sister didn't react. A few seconds later the lady fell down the stairs. There was blood and food everywhere. This honestly seems like a horrible idea. Why would the buffet be on the first floor, leaving people with full trays to cram into an elevator or climb stairs? What an awful business plan, lol. Honestly needs a dumb waiter. I know his sister may be a lot of things, but you can't call her that. Years ago, I worked at an all-you-can-eat country buffet in South Carolina. I was a busboy. One day, I went to a table. It was a mess. As per usual, it looked to be a large family/group of families of around 12 people or so. The thing that stuck it in my memory is that whenever they had finished with what they were going to eat, they would scrape their plate and use it again. Scrape their plates onto the floor next to their chairs. So next to each chair, there was a 6-inch to 18-inch pile of chicken bones, crab legs, mashed potatoes, remnants of baked potatoes, etc. Just disgusting. Out of all the horrible things I have read in this post, this is the only comment so far to get an audible WTF from me. It's just such an odd thing to do. Like, I can't fathom any reason why they wouldn't want to get a fresh plate